Readers, I'm betting that you want to hear the start of this book again, and this time to see if there were other details that you might have missed. That is smart reading work, because at the beginning of stories, especially, authors often insert a lot of small details that are very significant. I'm sure you're wondering, for instance, about the small details that you could easily miss at the start of your novels. Let's reread, and as we do, I want to give you another tip that can help you take your thinking work to a whole new level. That is, you can also do some really nuanced inferring about character traits. If you notice how the character thinks, feels, acts, and talks, you can generate some ideas about what kind of person this is. Again, I want to emphasize that the text won't come out and tell you what kind of person this is. But listen, do any of you have a friend who walks outside on a bright sunny day and the first thing that the friend says is, "The sun hurts my eyes. I can practically see the heat waves on the road"? Meanwhile, another friend will say, "Don't you just love days like this when there's a blue, blue sky and not a cloud to be seen?" Those two people are showing who they are by what they see and what they don't see. I'm going to reread, and as I do, jot down details that you can mine to learn more about our character's traits. This time, I want you to think, the character could have, but instead he, and then shift your thinking. This shows that he, and then I want you to share your ideas about who this soldier is as a person. The land of my enemy has wide valleys, mountains that stretch along the far horizon, rushing brown rivers, and thick green forests. My squad of 9 men are in the forest. Take a minute, pause the video, and jot down what you can infer just from this one page. You may have been thinking that the character could have been seeing the jungles around him as creepy and full of tarantulas. He was so scared, and for good reason, that he could have looked out at the whole world as a hot and horrible place. So it seems important that instead he tells about the land of his enemies as wide valleys, mountains that stretched along the far horizon. What does that suggest to you about the soldier? Remember, you're trying to generate as much as you can, as many ideas as you can about this character. If you haven't already answered that question, what does it suggest about the soldier? Pause the video and take a few notes. We definitely get the feeling that this soldier values the beauty of this place, even though it's the land of his enemies. Notice, though, that none of what we learned was spelled out for us. We figured out a theory about this character, one that may prove to hold true, but that may need to be revised as we read on. Let's go on. As I read on, in addition to doing the work of continuing to figure out what's going on, can you also try to infer the subtle character traits, the ones that other readers might miss? Do that by noticing small clues, like how the character sees things or what the character thinks about. Above me, birds twitter nervously in the treetops. Insects and small animals scurry through the underbrush, trying to avoid the crush of my combat boots. The squad leader raises his hand. We stop. The sound of my breath is soft in the morning air. Somewhere in the forest, hidden in the shadows, is the enemy. He knows I have come to kill him. He waits for me. The squad leader signals, and the patrol moves out again. The brush thickens as we head toward our target. The fog, which rolls slowly at the edge of the forest, is beginning to clear. I lift my rifle and begin to rub the palm of my hand slowly along its wooden stock. The weather is hot, but the sweat that runs down my back feels cold. Shots! A firefight! I dive to the ground. My heart beats faster. I lift my rifle and fire into the green forest. Bullets sing and whine over my head. I empty my clip, sending more bullets into the trees, the bushes. In reply, the bark flies from a tree near my head. I think I see the enemy. I reload and shoot again. It is only a shadow, but I do not stop shooting. In war, shadows are enemies too. Suddenly, there is silence. We are afraid to move. We are more afraid not to move. Readers, I'm sure you have a lot to say, a lot that you're thinking about. Why don't you take a moment to jot in your reading notebook? Pause the video and come back in a few minutes. Let's read on. Remember that you're going to hold your theories of this character in your hands as we read, collecting more evidence that goes with your theory or that changes your ideas. Remember, too, that there's a question that tends to be important to readers of historical fiction, one we haven't really taken up yet. What kind of conflict is portrayed in this book, and what role does a character play in that conflict? Are you ready? I hear the sounds of the birds again. I wonder if they speak of us from the high branches. I wonder if what they see makes them sad. I am so afraid. I want the enemy to be more afraid. I want him to tremble more than I tremble. The radio cackles in my hand as I call for bombs. Crouched against a tree older than my grandfather, I imagine the enemy crouching against a tree older than his grandfather. We wait. We wait. Images of those I love come to mind. Still we wait. Then we are startled by the sound of planes. We look up at them and see their shadows spreading over the valley's edge toward us. They pass us and do their work. The bombs explode, rumbling like thunder at a distance that is never distant enough. My body shakes. I tell myself that I will not die on this bright day. Against the horizon, columns of blue-gray smoke rise. 2 clicks away, there are flashes of gunfire. 2 clicks is the distance of my enemy. My chest tightens. I wipe my sweaty palms. I bite back my tears. So, thinking about the kind of conflict going on here, what is a protagonist doing? What is his role in the conflict? We know he's a soldier, but what does this tell us that he actually does? He fires bullets at the enemy again and again. He calls on his radio for bombs. His role in this conflict, then, is to fight, no matter how scared he may feel. Readers, you are going to do the same work in your books. Go back to the lesson platform for your next steps.